Yo,
Hey,
yo.
hey. West
Hey,
Coast
hey.
Wednesdays. What's good? Hey, Mom.
Yep. Hey, Girl Chat Sports. We in here. Wednesday vibes coming live.
Coming
We
live.
here.
Get your cup ready because I think everybody needs to be buzzing like Brady today, right?
I guess that's like a honestly, I loved it because it reminds us of 5 a.m. 40 some years old coming at the club.
Man, listen, I
It's to
love
be
it.
expected. It's to be
And why
expected.
not? And celebrate, cheers.
It's
Cheers
to be
Brady.
expected. That's how it is. That's how that all goes down.
That's what you got to do. I'm excited. I loved it. I enjoyed seeing like him not in TB12 mode. You know what I mean? Like,
just being a person.
Yeah.
They be
Getting tipsy with his
throwing
folks.
Lombardi trophies, tossing them across the boats and stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Get lit.
Hey, Nate, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you.
Yes, Nate.
So we got a good show today. We're gonna have a group of ladies that are gonna join us in a little bit. But I don't know, Mo. How you have a good week? How are things going?
We're good. I'm excited to see the ladies, and pop on and talk to them because they like talking about hoops and all kinds of stuff. So I'm like, yes, let's do it.
I just want to shed one tear though, because football is over with.
I know. How are you feeling about that?
I don't know if it's set in yet.
Okay.
I feel like, maybe come Sunday when I should be watching football and there's nothing on, that's when it's probably going to set in. However, remember the FCFL, the Fan Controlled Sports League, they actually start soon. They had their draft today. Remember, Marshawn is one of the owners of the Beast. There's 4 teams. And so I'm excited that maybe I can pursue my football watching there.
Yeah.
It's like a 6 week or 8 week. I think it's like a 6 week league. So, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, you totally can.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But anyways, let me get these ladies on.
Yes,
so
get them on.
Join them. Okay. Hello.
So we have Liz, we have Kendall, and we have Karen.
Hi.
We got a Karen on the show. Being a Karen.
Yes. I'm reclaiming it.
Yes,
Yo, that M&M's commercial was hilarious. They was like, here's M&M. Sorry for calling you Karen. Oh, your name is Karen.
Right. Yes.
Hello.
So we have these lovely ladies.
Karen, your mic, I think it keeps unmuting or muting. I don't know.
I'm muting just so you guys have clear.
Gotcha.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
So welcome to the show. These are the ladies of the Hoops Talk podcast.
Yes.
And I don't know who wants to take it. Whoever wants to let us know kind of how you guys came together, whether you were friends beforehand or how the podcast started and inspiration. Just give a finger one way or the other, maybe, right?
Let's start with the
Liz.
elder. Yeah, let's start with age before beauty, the eldest in the room. Well, we all worked together at Yahoo Sports. So, so Karen actually worked on my team. And Kendall worked in Yahoo Sports in the same office. And Karen and I, we always talked about basketball. We'd be in meetings, the basketball season, and we worked a lot on basketball and fantasy sports at Yahoo. So we were always working with that, with the product and with the team. And one day Karen's like, we should start a show about our fantasy league. And I'm like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. I don't have the bandwidth. I don't even know where to begin. I don't know shit. So I literally Google searched. I Google searched best podcast mic, best podcast, basically just learning how to podcast. And we would do it in the office after hours in cubbies, like conference rooms. And we bought the equipment. And then the only thing we paid out of pocket for in the beginning was an actual sound engineer because we were recording remotely, right? So we didn't know any other way. So he would put our stems together and add our intro, outro, that kind of stuff. And soon enough, like we were doing it for a while, and we got picked up by the Good News Sports Network in Los Angeles. They were looking for a women's sports talk show, and they liked our brand because we're not very X's and O's. A lot of times, the way we look at it more from a cultural point of view. and how, sports is just part of culture in America. And we think, basketball is one of the most American sports of all. And so we would look at it from those different angles, like what is the locker room chemistry? What are people wearing in the tunnel walks? And we would base a lot of our picks or who we were following based on that. And, as we evolved, going into the studio, doing more of a live show, Kendall, we invited her in, and it was just like perfect chemistry. She would be in the studio with me while Karen was up in the North Bay. And so we just had really great chemistry. And when the pandemic hit, because we were used to remote recording, we were able to go back to that. And we figured out how to use Zoom to be, what we used. And we were recording, and we had, I'll say, there's always silver linings to the pandemic, but one of them was that there was a lot of people available to come onto our show, because I'm all, where you going? Where are you going? So we had a 1 full year. I mean, we were having guests back to back to back to back. So we add that. So I would say like every year we have every season, because we're on our 3rd season now. Tonight, our 93rd show is live. We've had growth, and I think that's the greatest thing about it is we've had growth. We've we've built relationships and networking, and we've added Kindle and really created a safe space really for women that want to talk about sports in any which way but loose, and just go for it. And as we've evolved with the Summer of Black Lives Matter and other, activism that we saw, especially the WNBA, we've added those components, and really about voter registration was one of our big causes, and we were pushing that. So, we've added layers to our show because you just have to grow. If you're not if you're not looking at what's happening around you in society, and you're just like shut up and dribble, you're missing the whole point. So that's kind of what we've been doing, and so we're here now talking to you lovelies.
Yeah. And that's, I think, part of the whole, I think, bigger picture of just social media is that I think just through not only prior to quarantine, but also during and after, it's kind of like you had time to like reach out to people that you might be seeing on social media, on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, and be able to make those connections that you wouldn't have made just
totally
willy-nilly. Like, I'm not going to always see these people or meet these people in Las Vegas. So
right.
Yes. Yes. One day here or there, rubbing elbows in a locker room somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So other than your start, where do you guys have like allegiances to certain teams? I know it's Hoops Talking Sports or podcast. So you're definitely talking NBA, WNBA. I know I've watched one of the WNBA ones episodes you guys have, but like other than that, what are your guys' allegiances for team wise in sports?
Well, I'm a Lakers fan, huge Lakers fan, always have been. Entire family has been indoctrinated as Lakers fans. Going back to the Forum, and all that good stuff. And from a WNBA standpoint, Sparks is just, they're my close town. And we started getting into the WNBA. This is our 3rd season, I think we're getting into. So we hadn't originally had that as part of our, fanship, but we were like, what's wrong? Why don't we? And so we kind of decided we needed to look into that and really support that. So those are my teams. Karen and Kendall have their own.
I was raised in the Bay, so basketball is my number one, so Warriors for sure. My second love's baseball, so the Giants. And then those are my 2 mains. I do watch football for the show, and so I could at least talk to Kendall for a few things and play fantasy and play some prop bets, but that's about it from my end.
Yeah, mine's kind of all over the place. So I'm a new Portland Trailblazers fan. Actually, when I started on the podcast, I didn't really have an NBA team. So we started a segment called Forever Fan Freer, where people wrote in why I should be a fan of their team.
Okay.
And I picked the Trailblazers. I feel like I had the Trailblazers in my heart from the beginning, but it was fun to go through the whole process regardless. So yeah, I am a new Trailblazers fan, and I take it very seriously. I'm also a Raiders fan. I take that very seriously, even though they break my heart constantly. And I'm originally from Texas, so I'm a Texas Rangers fan, which again, broken hearts. So
all over.
So I gotta say, I'm in love with Liz. All the girls, I'm in love with Liz. I'm gonna have a secret affair with Kendall, and then I'm gonna have my breakups with Karen.
I love it. I love it.
Here's the thing. I'm a Lakers fan through and through, so I bleed that purple and gold all day.
Yes.
So that's my team. I'm also a Dodger girl, so Dodgers are my team.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing we missed was the Sparks situation because I'm Aces, of course, Vegas, right?
Oh,
but Kendall, my girl, my secret lover, I am a Raiders fan.
I know.
Black and silver all day. Black and silver.
Broken hearts.
Yes, breaking hearts. I mean, we have to chat about it because it's like we are in a masochistic relationship with this team. Like,
we really are. Every
where we
year.
always think every year. It's like that abusive boy. No pun. I won't say abusive boy. It's like that bad guy that's a player or whatever. You can't let go.
Mm-hmm.
And every year you think it's going to get better. Oh, he'll change. Every year. You think, it's going to change. He's going to do something differently. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But that is not the case with our team. And each season, we write them off at the beginning, like, I can't stand it, whatever. And then they start doing good. And it's like, he's back. He's better. Okay. We're there. Yep. And then they just let us down again for the hugest letdown known to man.
Yep. Oh man, week 6, I was like, we're going to the Super Bowl. We're doing it. We're going to the Super Bowl.
I didn't get that facetious. I didn't think I wasn't going to get married to the guy. I knew the boyfriend was still acting up. It wasn't ready for a ring on it yet. But I honestly thought he had changed his ways and he wasn't cheating on me as much as he was before.
No.
So that is like the thing.
Same excuse.
Same
excuse every year, right?
And
we're building.
We're building. We're working on it. We're building. We're going to get, And then for Karen, I'm not mad at Golden State at all because I'll watch Golden State.
Nice.
I do like a few players on your team. So they're kind of like that, if Lakers don't do right by me, then I can go. And that's very far in between.
But we can go
to Golden State for a little bit and play
we
with
could
y'all.
be secret lovers with the Aces because the three of us have been talking about with the moves going on.
Yeah.
Vegas isn't that far.
I like that. I like that.
Seriously, we just had that discussion. I think a couple of episodes ago where we're just like, Sparks, we love you, but I think we're all closer to Vegas right now, so that might have to be our team.
You're in a gray. You're like in the middle. So
thank you.
You can choose one or the other, but either way. But all of you girls encompass what I like, so I'm all with it. I'm all with it. I'm totally with it. Yes. Mel is kind of far up. Yes.
I digress. I do enjoy the Trailblazers. It's kind of like the second home team because my Sonics are no longer, but I've always been a Bulls fan. But it just, unfortunately, and at least, Karen, you're not a huge football fan to where you're loving the Niners. Because if you were doing that, then I would definitely have an issue with that.
No issue here.
So let's start with the Super Bowl. Did everybody tune in on the Super Bowl? Did we lose any audience throughout it? They had, I guess, like the second highest audience compared to the 2015 Super Bowl that we lost to the Patriots as well. What did you guys think of it so far? Kendall, since you are our football girl for the podcast, I'll go with you first to see kind of your thoughts on the game. Was it expected for you?
It was not expected. It was actually really boring to me because, the Chiefs I thought was just, they were going to compete a little bit more than what they did. It seemed like they just didn't prep at all for the game. I don't know. It was, they were on a different planet. It was just totally weird football. Nobody could catch anything. Even with Mahomes making these like magician throws from, diving on his side and stuff like that. It was just weird football. I'm not a huge Tom Brady fan. I mean, it's cool. He won his 7th, but I went to Texas Tech, so I was cheering for Patrick Mahomes because he put us on the map. Yeah, so I was a little bummed, but I mean, as a Raiders fan, it's weird to be also cheering for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that I thought was, I still can't believe today, is that, everybody thinks, oh, well, usually for regular games, they just fly the day before a game and everything's good. Mm-hmm. But the Chiefs literally flew out Saturday. And usually in a typical Super Bowl setting, they're out there the whole week. So the fact that they literally flew in on Saturday, I mean, you couldn't help but think, like, that's just got to be the most randomest, like, yeah, you had 2 weeks off, but at the same time, you don't get to even, like, get a good night's rest, to get a couple good, to get into your routine. I just thought it was crazy how that, and so, yeah, it was a bad game. I was hoping for at least a great game. I was hoping for at least being close, and not one of these blowouts. So I don't know. Mo, what were your thoughts on the game?
Well, you know what I was thinking. I was watching Money Ladies. I had previously placed a bet. Shout out to Ray, because that was the thing. There were a plus 700 on the line before the playoffs that Tampa Bay would win the Super Bowl. $50 paid $400. That's easy. Let's do it. Because we also did a ticket for the same denomination of $50 paying $800 if Cleveland Browns were able to win the AFC championship. That didn't happen. So watching this game was like me just watching, am I going to get paid today? That's all I was looking for, a payday. And Kendall, you can relate. Being a Raiders fan, we don't like the Chiefs because, hey, they're in our division, but I get why you kind of favor them a little bit because of the alma mater thing. But the other side of that coin, you have Tampa Bay. Well, the last Super Bowl appearance was with us. And they had a young John Gruden as a coach, and they beat us. So we're still holding a grudge to that to some degree. It's kind of like one of those things like, oh, we got to let it go. Well, some of us haven't let it go. So I was staying neutral to the whole thing and more so looking forward to me getting paid, which I did. And so I was very excited about that. That was my biggest thing. My brother fell asleep. My brother's a diehard Raiders fan. He was with me. I was looking over at him like in the middle of the third, going into fourth, head tilted back, mouth sleep. So I was like, well, we know where this is going. I'm just watching my ticket at this point. And it was a very boring game. It was a very lackluster game. But the thing that made it really worse, too, was seeing some of these defensive key players from Tampa Bay that the Raiders could have gotten. Those are people we passed up on drafts, even in offense, too. And I was just like, you know what? We could have had him. We could have had him. And then the whole incident with Honey Badger, I was like, okay, Honey Badger, you can come play with the Raiders if you want to. If you're not too happy, you have an exchange of words with Tom, which that got resolved now. You can always come over to the Nation. That's all I was thinking. Other than that, it was just a money thing. Yeah. I had no thoughts towards it.
Well, and shout out to our boy Guru who's chiming in.
I see him.
He is probably one of the only people, I think there's 2 people I know that have always been Bucs fans. I call it the pre-Tom era. So congratulations to those Tampa Bay Bucs fans that were always with Tampa and didn't just switch over like somebody we know, Miss Natalie, who I know wanted to tune in. Natalie, if you're out there, I do at least have this cupcake topper from the party. So I got you your own Super Bowl ring that you can share. and pretend that she's engaged again.
Right. Yeah.
She's infatuated with Tom. She's been dating him for 20 years. So
and she will let you know.
Oh, yes.
With pictures, slides, PowerPoint presentations, dissertations, theses, anything you needed to know on Tom and her love for him.
She just has to work on her Photoshop. She just has to work on her Photoshop skills. Sometimes her head is not proportionate to the body of Giselle. So
it'll get better with time. It'll get better with time.
It is what it is.
She got
it. I know. We love you too, Natalie. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. She's been off the grid for a little while, so we appreciate you joining in. But speaking of the game too, though, I mean, the Bucs defense, like you mentioned, some of the guys, Mo, that you guys could have got with the Raiders, they showed out. And I think it's pretty interesting for me, for my aspect, is that once we saw how important that offensive line was for Patrick Mahomes, he had scrambled like 480 yards, I think, before being sacked or throwing a pass. That's Russell Wilson. Okay. So I think everybody, and then all of a sudden post Super Bowl, all of this Russell Wilson talk came about how he's not happy with the offensive line. This is not news. I don't see why anyone's talking about it right now because Russell Wilson has always not had an offensive line. So why it becomes an issue now, I just don't know.
Well, they have it at the sports book right now that there's a 5% chance that he'll go get traded or Seahawks will trade him. Yeah. And they've got the odds already on the Vegas sports books of will he or will he not. And that to me is just crazy.
Well, for me, I don't think he'll go anywhere.
His contract's too big and no one can afford him.
Well, here's the deal. The Jets can afford him. And that's one of the things they were talking about is the Jets can afford him. They need a quarterback. But the thing is that they were talking about, Seattle getting a second round draft pick. Because here's the deal. We have no draft picks next year. We gave them all up for Jamal Adams. We want to re-sign Jamal Adams, which I'm all for. But the fact that if Russell wants this offensive line, he's got to restructure his contract and open up some money for this to happen. Otherwise, he can go. I'm not going to be like the sulking fan. I mean, I love Russell Wilson, but at the same time is if you can't restructure your contract to help get those things that you want to make those decisions, then maybe it is time to go. However, I will say this. I sure as heck don't want to see Mr. Geno Never Plays Smith being our starting quarterback or some fresh rookie that gets drafted who has never played before and then gets put behind an offensive line and he can't scramble. Like we at least need a running quarterback. If we could get Deshaun, if we can get anybody that actually has feet and moves, that would be amazing. But I mean, until then, it's off season. Everybody's going to have the rumors. I'm not buying anything until I see it. And all those Fayweather Seahawk fans out there, I'm so sick of seeing all the posts today about, oh, Russell's going to leave. We're going to be Listen, we had been crap prior to the decade of 2000 until 2005, I think is when we started having some momentum. So if you're a real fan, you're going to stick through it. You know what I mean? I don't know. That was my little soapbox on the Seahawks. I will jump off now.
Well, it's the end of the season. I'm sure you have a lot to say. So I was letting you have that because I understand.
I mean, you get your Lakers soapbox. I mean, I get my
because the season's on right now. Yeah. And I'm excited that we're world champions. Keyword, champions. It's different when
we don't really need a
championship team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
you guys
very
haven't seen
different.
A Super Bowl championship in quite some time. Yeah. So you might as well be right there with the rest
of us. It's been under a decade, so it's not like it's been that long. We're not like the Dallas Cowboys.
Is it coming back is the question I think everybody wants to know.
He needs a line,
But the thing of it is
we see how close we've been getting.
But your division is one of the strongest divisions in the league. That NFC West is no joke.
Right, so to be able to still get in the playoffs in one of the strongest divisions is a key thing.
To the playoffs. That's where y'all stop. That needle needs to move further.
That's why we need an offensive line.
Exactly. So it will take some time because everyone else seems to be building around you guys, except you guys. So I'm just wondering, when will that day happen? Because
we've been waiting on that day for a while. Every draft, every Seahawks fan is like, come on, offense. And then we get like 33 running backs and about 6 tight ends. Like we don't
Seahawks, they sound like they're the Clippers of football.
Exactly. They are. And
you know what I mean?
We had not heard from them until they won 1 Super Bowl. And then all these Seahawks fans come out of left field on me. And I'm like, where have you been this whole time? I forgot you guys even had a team
the whole time
in Seattle. I forgot you even had a team in Seattle that was football related. Like at that point, like you guys were. I mean, who'd you have? Who was the guy? The Boz. That's what I remember.
Yes, Steve Largent, Dave Craig, Cortez Kennedy. I'm sorry, Lincoln Kennedy. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, again. So yeah, they become this Legion of Boom. It's now the Legion of Doom, and I'm just wondering what's going to happen again. Back and did well. You know what I mean? He did come back really well, but again, you guys ended up the same place. It's like, hey, I get it. We're all in masochistic relationship with football. We all have our teams and have our issues, and we don't get to go to the big dance, and it's always something. So we're all just at this end, like ready for it to not happen again. Like that's where my frustration lies. Like I need to see change this upcoming fall season. So like, it's just getting ridiculous.
Speaking of your team, then you and Kendall, the Raiders announced that they're not taking offers or any interest in Derek Carr being traded.
Yeah, right. They just announced that. Yeah, we knew that was going to happen. My thing is now is Mariota going to get shopped? Because I think
that's the thing is that they're open to him shopping, and I'm just like, well, does that really help the situation?
Because the situation is this: what the Texans wanted for the Deshaun Watson trade, you saw it. It was like a 2-1, 2-2, and then they wanted your top defensive players. Well, Raiders don't have no top defensive players. Okay, so there was that we were out off of that. And then Colin Cowherd gets on Twitter and a Raider Nation goes nuts by saying, oh, yeah, you guys can get him if you trade Darren Waller. Let me make this very clear.
No.
Darren Waller is not going anywhere.
He's not an option.
He is not an option. That is a non-negotiable. So just even with all of that madness going on, I knew there was not going to be a Deshaun Watson per se move. It just was not realistic, even from the very beginning, because I know how our Raiders are. Yes, John Gruden loves quarterbacks, but I don't think it's gonna. He can't afford this particular quarterback. I don't see a team that can. I want the Patriots to try and get him. I want to see if that'll be the move, but you don't know. You just don't know. So
I would love to see them give Marcus Mariota a shot, though, because when he did go in and he played, I think it was 1 or 2 games, I can't even remember, but he played really well.
He did excellent.
They're like, nah, we're going to throw in Derek Carr, who, likes to throw it away on 4th down. And you're like, what the hell are you doing, man?
But the thing of it is it's a play calling, too. Like, you cannot have Gruden call these offensive play calls. And Josh Jacobs was right there. He was right there. Kendall, you saw that. He could have scored a touchdown. They didn't want the ball to go back, but it was like it would not have mattered. You still would have had the points up on the board, but just the effort alone of it would have changed the you just don't know what it would have done. And then the fact that they signed Nathan Peterman again, they renewed his contract extension for 1 year. We didn't even see the field this season. It's like, this is stuff that I'm talking about with the Raiders that just doesn't make sense to me. Anybody out there in the chat, make it make sense. Because I'm in this masochistic relationship. I don't know what to do. I've been in it for so long that it's very hard for me to jump ship right now, because I feel like once I jump ship, watch, they ruin the Super Bowl and be like, oh, no, Mo, you're not a Raider fan anymore. You declared you don't want to be a Raider fan. So I got to ride it out.
Yeah. I used to work at NFL Network, and I worked with Mike Mayock. And when he would do the drafts, so when because I would go to the draft every year, and it would be him and, the whole crew. And he was always really good on the show. And I always felt like his picks were like, he went deeper. He didn't pick the obvious one, right? Like, he always picked somebody that you wouldn't even think, but what turns out to be, amazing down the line. So I thought, like, when the Raiders signed him as GM, that, okay, maybe we are going to turn this around, right? And since then, it's just we're building.
And we got Cleveland Farrell, and now the verdict is still out on him because we got Cleveland Farrell, who was his top draft pick, in biscuits, biscuits and gravy. What are we doing with this guy? Is he going to stay? Are they going to nothing? So I don't know. You're right. We're building. $100 million later, we're building, I'm done. I'm so done. New city. We need stars. We need young, and Derek Carr, not to say he's not young, he's 29, but we need legs. We need a great, solid defense. And seeing that Buccaneers game just incensed me when I saw a few of those key players that were just like, oh, they could have been a Raider. We passed on him.
Yeah.
Why? Yeah.
And Mo got her soapbox.
Yes. Last season. As I said, I let you have it because there's no more football. You're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to rant about these things. So this is the last moment on it. Yeah.
But there was the Seahawks and Raiders both did get a Hall of Fame inductee as well.
Yes, Tom Flores, long overdue. His ESPN 30 for 30 is amazing, by the way. He's got two,
Oh, does he?
And Chuck Woodson. Yeah, Chuck Woodson Raider got it. Yeah, but he's got a 30 for 30. Tom Flores does. It's incredible. I have to still tap into it. But yeah, he's out there on that. So
and Russell did get the Man of the Year, which
deserving
for sure, because he's spent most of his time during the season doing some of those things too.
Yeah.
So,
he's got a great clothing line. I mean, the Good Man brand, because he's a good man, it does well in our stores. So yeah.
And the thing is, I think out of all the honorees, as far as Aaron Rodgers, we knew we're going to get MVP. Derrick Henry, of course, offensive player.
Which people debated.
On Derrick Henry?
No, not Derrick Henry. I'm sorry.
Aaron Donald.
Well,
because TJ Watts his numbers were beating him in every category.
Yes, but did you see where he plays on the field? TJ Watt is on the outside of the line. Yeah. Derrick Henry's running through the middle. I'm sorry.
You mean Aaron Donald?
Aaron Donald is running through the middle. I'm sorry. You're getting hit.
Yeah, he's getting covered. He's got double team.
And I'm sorry. That to me shows defensible. And not to mention, I'm not saying that taken away from TJ Watt, because his numbers were excellent. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But to run up the middle, like, it's just two different type of positions on that.
I gotta hate in the Rams, period. Like that's
because that's your division. I get it. Yeah. Don't worry about him, Mel. Don't worry about him. The Seahawks.
You got Matthew Stafford now.
Man, I don't even know what to say about that one. That's
and another thing, real quick, with the Raiders, I don't want them to go after Carson Wentz. Let me just put that mojo out there. I don't want that to happen.
I don't think anybody wants Carson. The thing is that Philly wants like a huge deal for him, and he's not worth it.
The rumor was the Bears were going to take him and get rid of Nick Foles on a trade.
They would,
and that would have been the worst ever. To get Carson Wentz from
karma.
Right.
Karma. Well, let's get into a little NBA action, because I know that's why you guys are here. I mean, not just for here, but of course that's your guys' podcast is on basketball. So, what happens is football season ends, I regroup, and then I watch a little basketball. I kind of just play it by ear here and there for something on during the football season, but now I can actually say that I will start watching basketball. So please, if the Laker ladies want to take it away first, what's going on in the NBA right now? Are the Lakers still competing for first, or are they back in first? I know they were in second or third or something.
Well, they're 19-6 right now, so we're making our way.
They've had some tough spots, especially you can see it when Anthony Davis isn't on the floor. It's a full mess. So I think there's a lot of things going on there. And then you have, just we always talk about how COVID has been a huge impact on a lot of these games because you just have a lot of postponements. And we also talk about how one of the things we focused on is looking at the younger players. Because, when you had a season like the bubble season, and then right away you had a shortened time frame to go back into play, the old heads, they need more time to rest. So we looked at the younger players, we looked at the rookies coming in, and the sophomores, looking at them and how they're building on the team. And I think you're seeing like it's really interesting to see the narratives coming out across the NBA versus where you're very heavy on certain like teams. Of course, the West usually dominates more so, but you're seeing like the Detroit Pistons having these games come out where they're beating the Lakers and they're beating the Clippers and the Nets, which the Nets in the East, oh my, like they are built to be, in the finals. Will they be able to do that? I don't know. There's a lot of question marks with some of their big players. They don't play defense. You got 3 guys on the starting 5 that do not play defense. All they're doing is shooting. KD, Kyrie, and then you put Harden in the mix. So I mean, it's been interesting to see. I mean, the Lakers have been doing great. I think how they've rebuilt, it was hard to see some of these young ones go. Like anytime I see Brandon Ingram on the Pelicans, I'm like, oh, baby Laker is doing so good. It's great to see him thriving over there. LaMelo Ball Lonzo Ball, not so much.
LaMelo though.
LaMelo is like killing it. He's doing excellent, making history on his run. But I think the Lakers are in a position to win another championship this season. I like to see that they are, they're being consistent at least. You don't have like these big tracks of like where they're losing big time and then they're have these like streaks of like no wins. They're being consistent. I think they're being conservative, especially with the injuries around Anthony Davis, around LeBron, who's getting better with age. It's insane. He's putting up like triple doubles, like
fine wine.
Oh, very fine wine. I mean, they got taken to a couple of double OTs, and he's been the force.
Yeah, that double OT, by the way, should never have happened against the Detroit Pistons team. That's 5-17.
Last
and the Pistons just beat the Nets too.
They're 5-17. Like there was no reason for that to go into double overtime. That was stressing me the heck out. That was still with a healthy Anthony Davis.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If it took LeBron to play, and he played like 48 minutes that game. That was the longest he's played in quite some time. And I was just like, you know what? I can't say. Yeah, the Jazz are in the first place. Yeah, the Jazz are no joke. They balling right now. Joker's on a roll. I mean,
he's doing great. He's having a great season.
Amazing season.
He's doing an amazing season.
And so
we're actually. Yeah, no. I mean, I'm surprised at how well the Portland Trailblazers are doing, to be honest. Like they've suffered a ton of injuries.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how they're like staying in the top 8.
Yeah, CJ's still out.
Yeah, he's still
CJ
out.
McCollum's still out. Yeah. Yeah, it's a
Mitch.
struggle.
Yeah.
What are you guys thinking about the Nets though? Because Kyrie, I think, came out yesterday or today in regards to that. Their team's been going through so much. It's hard to be consistent. It's hard to play. I mean, they've been basically playing kind of like a roller coaster. It's like some days, like I think today they came out like 60-30 in like the first period or first half, and then they'll be losing to the Pistons like yesterday or day before. So, Karen, what do you think about these Nets, and will they be able to become that powerhouse come playoffs and finals?
No, I mean, they're a hot mess. Period. Harden, Kyrie has his own special. I mean, I think Kyrie showed like some interesting heart and color, which we kind of fell for him a little bit in COVID, but I think he's dealing with his own like mental health right now. And then of course I've got sour taste in my mouth with KD leaving, chasing the ring. I mean, I get it, but I also don't. And I think what it is for me though, and you see it too as being a Warriors fan, there's got to be a team dynamic. You got to build a great environment, and you just throw a bunch of
there's no leadership.
in.
There's no leadership.
Yeah.
Who's the leader on the team?
There's
no one is leading that team on.
KD thinks he is.
KD can't be a leader. KD is Robin. KD is always the wingman. He's second guy. He's never gonna be the one. Even though
he might tweet you back on his burner account right there.
Oh, you know what? He's not a team leader. He knows that. Like that's never been his role. You know what I mean? And for him to step into a role like that and try to manage all those personalities, James Harden is acting the same way he acted when he arrived in Houston. He was all happy, all about it, bringing all these different players in, and then he's just, I'm over it. So he's hecka emo. So he's in the emotional high right now. I'm waiting till he gets to the low point, and then we'll see the same James Harden we normally see. But to your point, it's too much of that I'm not really seeing them as a potential threat, because you really do have some juggernauts coming out of the East. Philly is looking really nice.
Joel Embiid's having a season.
They're having a great elite season with Doc Rivers on the bench like that.
Yep.
I mean, I'm seeing a Ben Simmons I hadn't seen yet, and so you just don't know what's going to happen. And then the Knicks just got Derrick Rose, and see, of course, Derrick Rose follows Tibbs. Wherever Tibbs goes, Derrick Rose is right behind him.
I was like, welcome back.
Yeah, they're having a good look.
Yep.
And they won their first game with him on the court, so they may have a run. So you just don't know.
You just don't know.
You really
that's
don't.
what's so exciting.
It is.
Yeah,
we're still in
super
trades.
exciting.
We're still in trades. Trade deadlines coming up, and then you've got All-Star break coming up in March, and it's a 72 game season, so we're still early. We're still early, guys. It's just not anything to put out there in the universe except that the Lakers can win the championship and will win the championship. That's the only thing.
That's the only thing. That's the only thing.
Atmosphere, to be quite honest with you.
Yes, to be quite honest.
That's my girl.
Put some money on it, ladies.
Yeah. I can do that. No problem. No, definitely.
My Venmo is.
We got our cash app too. Just put it in the cash app. Here we go.
Nice.
So, Kendall, what are your thoughts on? Will the Knicks become ever a name again? I mean, they got the Derrick Rose trade. Is this the Derrick Rose of old, or are we still like playing up and down with Derrick Rose? Because literally after the trade, the Pistons have been winning.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I thought the Knicks have been playing really well with their young squad. I mean, compared to how they have been playing, I think James Dolan is just an issue, and he's going to be an issue as long as he's there. I don't think with him being the owner that they're going to pull in these big old names that are going to want to go and play for the Knicks. I just don't. I mean, I feel like they're just going to have to do it all through the draft and get young guys, because I don't see somebody being like, oh, the Knicks are definitely someplace that I want to go and play right now. I don't know. I could be totally wrong. Liz is married to a Knicks fan, so I don't know.
I always say this about a Knicks fan: marry yourself a Knicks fan, because loyalty. They're never gonna switch a team. They're never, they're totally gonna be Knicks. They're not gonna go to the Nets because they're shiny and new. They're gonna stay true to being a Nick fan.
Yeah.
I think that, we've talked about this a lot about how Dolan's really messed up on why no one wanted to go there. They have the most cash flow to be able to get a big name, but no one wants to play there. And maybe that's best, because did we really want KD? I mean, and people are saying like, oh, the Knicks wanted to get Giannis, and it's like, well, do you want to now? Like, because he's in a slump. He's had this attitude change. And Julius Randle is playing like you never saw Julius Randle play.
Right.
Another baby Laker.
Former
that
Laker.
Yep,
Former Laker.
love seeing
You're
that.
getting a lot of NYC love here, by the way.
Hey!
Yes.
I mean, you got Quigley. You got, they put him on the second team. You have Obi Toppin, which was kind of a weird draft pick, but hey, you know what? He's good for the brand. See, they have to balance that. Like, what's going to be good for the brand and what's going to be good for the team. Got a lot of young people. I think they've been looking really good out there. And they don't have a lot of pressure, which I think is also helpful for what the growth that they need. And I think bringing in Derrick Rose is a good idea because he is a veteran. He can teach them something. He's still fast. Yeah. I remember him because we would go and see the Knicks play. When we moved to LA, they played the Lakers twice. And we were able to go see them in February, I believe, of last year before, everything started going to shit. And when, he was on the team, he was so fast. Like, so I couldn't believe how fast he is. And I still think he has that speed. And it could take a few. I mean, they had a heartbreaker loss against the Heat where they lost like by 2 points. Where you had Barrett was under the rim and could have gotten that ball in. He just like missed that shot, which was is a killer. But I think that I like when I see, and I love. I mean, I love Walt Clyde Frazier and Breen as like when we're talking about sports analysts. That those guys are like poetry, and listening to them. Call a Knicks game is one of my favorite things to do too. So I think that they have been tarnished. I think there was some foolishness that was going on that the Dolans was very much a part of. And I think, they're trying to scrub up, clean up. They're getting back to the basics. And I like what I'm seeing there. I think they're formidable. Better than it feels like the Nets
they're doing a lot better. They're doing a lot better. Usually they're dead last in the conference.
Yeah.
They're actually, in some double digits of wins. So to your
they're
point,
ahead of the Heat.
They are ahead of the Heat. Oh, the Heat's struggling. Oh my God. I don't know what's going on.
It might have been that no time off.
But you made a valid point with the young players because that's Detroit's whole makeup. They're all young over there. Jeremy Grant is balling out,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Grant twins, they got that. He's got that little legacy under him. But they know our number because this is the second time that they played the Lakers team away and at home where they had our number to a certain degree and didn't feel like I don't think they felt blown by a loss, but they just kind of know that they're determined to try and do better. And you can tell in the series of games that they've had that they're a young, scrappy team. They don't even care. They don't care if it's LeBron coming down there. They really don't.
They really don't.
They don't. And so really to your point with the younger players, they really are having that mindset now. So that's going to be really interesting to see during the season.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. Because we want to touch on, I know when you first gave the introduction of your guys' podcast, and it's also being about not only basketball, but kind of like the culture and the culture surrounding it. One thing that came up this week was obviously, I guess Mark Cuban decided to formally announce that they haven't been playing the national anthem this whole season, which maybe people didn't know or did know. But once that was mentioned yesterday, which it seemed like he had talked to the commission, things were fine. But then today, there's all this news that now the NBA is requiring the national anthem after just. So, ladies, thoughts?
I know. Well, I just read a tweet. One of the Roxanne Gay, actually, an author that we both follow, Liz. She asked the question: when did sports be associated with the national anthem? When did we start having that at every game? And folks are sort of throwing some education there. So I don't know if it's 100% correct here, but one of the folks said it started after World War I with a baseball game to whip people up into wanting to join the military, not forced through the draft under Wilson. So I'm like, why are we still forcing the issue?
Yeah. I think it's dumb. I just saw, I think it was the governor of Texas or someone, one of the leadership JoJo's in Texas, saying they were going to pass a petition to protect the national anthem. And I'm like, when you care more about a stupid song than the people in your state, your priorities are bonkers. Okay. That is bananas to me. Like Texas is literally at the border with children in cages and the whole thing is going on with the immigration, and you want to protect the national anthem. Oh, gee, where are we? Who are we?
And the history itself behind the national anthem and where it originally came from and who wrote it and what time frame that was. And I think there's a whole third
and even the lyrics, the whole stanza is missing about the tyranny of slaves and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
And it amazes me how people relate the national anthem with supporting our troops. Those two things do not go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Right. And the flag too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the flag too. Like it all comes into one. Yeah. And it doesn't. And I feel like if a team wants to play it, fine. But the NBA is now requiring it now. Like you didn't catch on to it this whole first 2 months with Dallas never playing it at all. Like no one caught that until Mark Cuban said something. Like
I'm dumb.
It's some nationalist bullshit is what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
It's like saying the freaking Pledge of Allegiance at school every morning. Why the hell do we have to do that shit too back in the day? Like, it's stupid. Just
and I was reading in some group because somebody was like, well, do they make you do the national anthem before work? Are you asking for that before you start your day at work?
Right.
That's basically what they're doing. These guys are going to work. Why are we supposed to do the national anthem for it? I don't. It doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you pay taxes in this country, you're doing what you need to do for this country. You don't have to say the pledge or a anthem, and it's not even a bop. It's one of the hardest songs to sing. You know what I mean? It's just like, I would see if it was like a bop, it's
like America the Beautiful.
That's a bop. My God. Or something like that. But it's not even like a good song. So I'm just like, whatever.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. When the Warriors remixed Fergie's version, it kind of made it a bop.
It did.
That was pretty funny.
They changed it. It was pretty good.
Yeah, that did sound good. I will say that. Yeah.
Well, switching over to the WNBA, which I know we all are loving and we've all been enjoying it, especially the last few years for us, at least because we got our franchise. But there's been free agency I think this has been one of the very first years of free agency that I've been like, wait, what? Like players are moving like crazy. I mean, of course, Candace Parker from your guys' Sparks going back home. That was huge. Us getting Chelsea Gray. I mean, I know the Sparks seem to be losing out a little bit, but what are your guys' thoughts on kind of the free agency moves so far?
Well, they're poop because Candace Parker, Chelsea Gray. I mean, what the hell? I always just thought Candace was going to finish her career in Los Angeles. I had no inkling. I mean, I knew the stuff that happened with Derek in that one season where they had to play at like UCLA gymnasium or something because of the Grammys. So they couldn't even finish their season at the Staples. So you saw that friction. I think the bubble probably did a lot as well. You know how you hear about like when the players go and play for US basketball and there's a lot of chatter. And I think the bubble probably did that chatter. And I'm happy for her and I'm happy for Chelsea because I saw what the Aces did to court her and to like bring her on. And that's what these players are wanting. That's what they're deserving. And that's what they're wanting. They're like, we want to be courted. We want to see where we're going to be working out. We want to see the community we're going to be going in. We want to have these things and we want to go to a place that's going to support those things, which we think we deserve and we should have. And I got to say, Las Vegas has been pouring money into so many great franchises. Yep. I know the owner of the Raiders just bought the Aces. Facilities that you've made for the Aces is just like state of the art. And plus you have Liz Cambage. Fire. I love her so much. Oh my God. So yeah, I think Candace was a huge giant, like jumping off point even before free agency started. And now, I mean, even today, there's been like crazy trades with Natasha Howard and Kia Nurse, and Phoenix is looking great.
And Seattle Storm were like completely making moves. Like, unbelievable.
Yeah, I think they had to try to keep Sue Bird, really, because I don't think they had enough money to keep her unless they made those trades.
I heard that she had I think she had did some kind of contract negotiation possibly, but I know that like Natasha Howard, they got rid of her and got 3 draft picks. Those 3 draft picks they used to acquire more players, like Katie Lou.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so everyone's making moves. It's really interesting to see, and I think it's going to be really. I mean, it was all you had Mystics, you had Seattle, Aces were up and coming, Sparks were always in the conversation, but now you're like Chicago's blowing it up, Phoenix,
right?
The Lynx, it's looking dangerous out there. Dangerously good. I think it's going to be a fabulous season. I'm hoping we could go see a game.
Yeah.
That we're all vaccinated. We can all go see a game because I know we're going to Vegas once we can do that.
Come on. Kendall or Karen, you guys thoughts on the WNBA free agency so far, or any team that you're eyeing right now from the moves they made?
Karen, you want to go?
I mean, definitely Sky Aces, right? Our mistress. I mean, I think the ladies were taking suit from what the men were doing about 2 seasons ago. And, the young generation too isn't about teams anymore. They follow players. And I think the players realize this, and they're out to really focus on themselves, right? And the loyalty to a team is just kind of not there anymore. But that's great. I mean, it's competition. It's just like us in our day-to-day 9-to-5s. If a company ain't taking care of you, you out there to get papers. So I'm excited because these changes throw everything off for me. So it's going to be a hot season. I'm hoping for that.
Yeah.
Mo, you got any thoughts on it? I know for me, it was really great for the USA team to be watching those girls because Kelsey Plum is back. She's back from her Achilles injury. It's great seeing her on the court and having the ball in her hand again. And that's another thing. Is there going to be an Olympics this year? And are these girls going to play? Like they said, this could be the only training camp they have prior to leaving for Tokyo if it goes down.
I mean, I could see an Olympics that's maybe more of like a bubble situation when they don't have the fans, because you want to keep it. I don't know about you guys, but the bubble worked. So why is it just like,
suddenly no bubble? Yeah,
we're not going to do it again. So I mean, if that worked, hopefully more people will be vaccinated, right? Well, that's where we're headed towards, at least for the summer. I don't know.
It seems like a bad idea to have the Olympics. Honestly. We're just gonna mix up all these different countries that are doing different things with COVID and put them. You know what goes down at the Olympic Village? It is not a secret.
Not a secret.
The amount of condoms.
There's lots of switching and swapping. Like it is. It goes down in the Olympic Village. It sounds like it's just going to be fans or no fans. It doesn't seem like a great idea to be mixing up thousands of different people from across the world.
Right. And then they're not even requiring the vaccine for them or pushing them to get the vaccine sooner. So
and some countries are more lax than others, and it's like it just seems really stupid at this point. Risky. But what do I know? I don't make those decisions. So.
Yeah, it seems really risky. I mean, we were just talking about the NBA All-Star game. We're like, really not needed. Not needed. No. You're gonna put the best of the best.
Atlanta.
The best of the best in Atlanta. Yeah. Okay. I feel there's going to be some situations happening there because just think about it. One superstar gets sick, it's done. You got contact tracing, your season's done. So you better hope that you have like some good bench players.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of chicken wings in Atlanta.
COVID.
Yeah.
COVID chicken wings.
The adult chicken wings. I think that's what I mean.
Yes, there
Lemon pepper
is.
style. Lemon pepper.
Lemon
style.
peppers. Lemon pepper.
Yeah,
Lemon
lemon
pepper.
pepper.
Flavored. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Tiana's gonna have a show with like
Oh,
thousands
Lord.
of people.
Yeah.
Hey Mo, when do you think we'll get, I mean, you know, Liz Cambage, we all love her. She's been showing off all the great body goods on Instagram. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
My question is, when is she coming back?
I have no idea, but we need her back. I need her back for my NBA 2K game. I mean, I'm sick of playing with these ladies and not having Liz Cambage, and I'm losing on this game because I don't have my bigs. You know, they're putting Carol Swartz in. It's not working for me. I can only run Derica Hamby for so long. I can only run Ace for so long, especially if I'm playing on a level where they're like actually playing and get fatigued. I have nobody. So to your point, I'm making this into a reality that we need her back. I mean, she's definitely a dominant force. We came very close to winning the championship last season. And I think with her and Kelsey Plum, we will definitely, with them back, we definitely have a chance on getting that thing. Regardless of all the trades and everything else coming.
Even though they haven't set a date for this season to start, it's kind of like, well, shouldn't there be some news and some updates on like when our girl from Australia is going to be coming way back?
And that's the thing too. You have to look at if the country's still under their lockdown situation, or if she's even comfortable with it, because she had COVID, and that kind of messed with her mentals quite a bit, to the point where she was like, even if it was an option for me to play last season, I'm not playing. So again, to your point, Mel, we just don't know. We don't know. She hasn't given us any updates. She hasn't had any Aces posts either. She hasn't liked any Aces things, and she hasn't tweeted any Aces stuff, which I find very interesting. But I really need her back because, like I said, I'm losing at this thing, and I want one of our.
We need our big. We
just need one of these teams in the city to bring a championship home. Knights came close to Stanley Cup Finals. Raiders, I don't know what to say.
It's gonna be a hot minute before
it's gonna be a hot minute. We'll host a Super Bowl with us not in it before we win a Super Bowl.
Exactly.
But we've got a WNBA team too that also is a juggernaut. So we just need one team. Any of these teams, just bring something home so we can have our draw and get our star power back. Right. I want our lights on the strip. Our lights are not on right now, but I want our lights on.
I know Cambage was cord though, so that you have that going for you. So she can't really go anywhere. I mean, based on that, just depends on whether she's going to be able to come back in the season.
Yeah.
But
coming back.
Shout out to our guy, B Sal, News 3. Should we do we really need her back, or should we let her keep
look at you? I know which one you saw. You saw her in the whites. That was the last post I saw in the video. Yes, she's amazing. Man. And you know, to be honest with you, I think even when she does play in the season, she still gives us great photo opportunities. I think you'll be fine. Yeah, that's hilarious though. Shout out to B Sal.
But it does look like her mental health is doing well, that she's in a good place, that she's taking care of her, which, you know, kind of brings me along to how are we all coping in the pandemic and being able to still function as, whether it be wives or girlfriends or moms or fur moms like myself, or still working, and, you know, being able to still not feel trapped. I know that's been tough for some people, but like, how have individually have each of you been able to kind of like still have a space? I know me and Mo have this podcast. It gives us a time to kind of like talk and chat. I'm sure it's similar for you guys, but is there anything that specifically that you guys have done to kind of help keep your spirits high during these times?
You want to go, Karen?
Oh, that's the hardest question. I think I'm still trying to figure that out, and it's been almost a year. I mean, I think for me, it's like you said, Mel, like our show. Looking forward to that, even though I've got Zoom fucking fatigue. Man, it's a hard one. I don't even feel motivated to do anything sort of like creative, or, you know, usually my therapy's dance, and even then, like, unless a bop is on, I'm not really. It's like whatever. Right. So I think it's just hanging in there. It's looking at trying to be positive about the hope. I think the vaccine's given me a little bit of that. But, you know, single mom, I'm juggling school. I'm juggling back-to-back meetings all day, and the house looks like a mess, but it is what it is.
And that's all good. Kendall, what about you?
I mean, kind of the same. I'm up and down. You know, some days are better than others. Some days I'm more creative, and some days I just want to sit on the couch and stare at the wall, and I'm bored with watching TV, but it's like the only thing left to do, really. I'm out in Utah, St. George, so there's a lot of state parks around here, so I've started going hiking and stuff. And I bought a camera for Christmas, so I've been trying to get into photography and just doing things that I didn't normally do back in LA, and just trying to stay as sane as possible. Talking to these lovely ladies, every weekend and through group chats. But yeah,
well, it never hurts to be going to Zion and going crystal shopping and getting some hiking in. You know what I mean? Like that's the perfect spot.
It's not bad at all. It's not bad.
How about you, Liz?
Well, we moved out to the desert. So I live in Yucca Valley, a Joshua Tree area, and we have a lot of land around us. So I literally open the door to my house and I'm out in nature. So that's been
with the coyotes.
With a coyote. I started bird watching.
Oh wow.
I started bird watching. I saw a roadrunner come up to the house today, almost came into the house. So navigating that and just I've been doing a lot of journaling, actually has been very helpful, try to do daily routine practice. Online therapy. I talk to a therapist once a week, and that seems to be really helping me get my stress relief. And it's also I think one of the important things is being able to balance when you're going to have your triggers, like what is triggering, and being able to say that you're worth kindness and patience, and making sure people know that, and so I'm fortunate because I get to, I have my own practice. And so like my own business. So I get to choose clients that I work with, and they all know, they're like, Liz does it this way and that. I get results. Okay. However we're going to do it, I get results. It gets done. This is, I have a culture that I've built for myself in my business and my practice. And it's been very healing for me. And these wonderful women, I can't express how amazing it's been to have them to talk about sports, and we do our thing and we're in our chats and we're always supporting one another. And that's been a major thing, because I miss my family. I haven't seen them in a year, and I talk to my sister a lot. That's actually really cool. And my nephew who's 14. So, but yeah, I think that really has been one of the better things, is just having nature and being able to walk out, having peace, and journaling. Yeah, therapy. Therapy is good. Therapy is so good. I can't say it enough how good therapy is.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Mo, what about you?
I've been out there, ladies.
I know.
Just so you know, I work in the public, if you will. So I'm out there. So I never really, the quarantine was actually good for me because I'm an out person.
Yeah, to sit her ass down.
And people don't think like I could have done it. They're like, how do you do it when you go out all the time? It was easy. Because I had so many times of going out, you share those memories, you look at old photos, you look at videos, like, hoping that it gets back to that one of these days. But now I've just been chilling. But mostly I'm out there. I'm at work 4 days out of the week. So that gives me a good stimulus to, talk to folks and interact a little bit and be social, to the point where I'm at home and I don't want to talk to anybody, because I feel like we talk all day now. And crazy thing is, at my job, we all participated in NFL pick'ems for the whole football week. And then for the Super Bowl, we all did the squares. So I think that helped a lot, because a lot of people, with me being commissioner of planning it and coordinating it, they all thanked me like this was a great distraction. We go home and we don't have to think about COVID. We don't have to think about, we're thinking about our picks and all of this kind of stuff. So there's things that can help, and I'm blessed to say that it's been working out fine for me. I do agree with you with the therapy thing, because sometimes my mentals come into play, especially with everything that goes on in this country. Sometimes we have to just do a self-care day, turn the TV off, don't want to think about it, don't want to look about it. I'm constantly reminded that I'm a Black person. I'm getting almost tired of that. Like, just call me Mo. I'm Mo. Just remind me that I'm Monisha. Stop throwing. What do you think of this? You know what I think. Let's just talk about what Mo does. So that's one of my
talk
ways
about
to
fashion.
talk about my fashion, talk about the celebrity gossip that's going on, because there's a ton of it. Talk about the Britney Spears documentary. We could talk about a whole bunch of things, or what shows we're watching. And it just doesn't have to pertain all the time to so many things that's going on, because that affects my trauma as well of what we've had, So
Absolutely.
I just try to keep it easy breezy, listen to my great music, and have you lovely ladies on this guest, and do a show with Mel, and it's that's been my great relief. So
love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
What about you, Mel?
I've been dealing with a puppy she's now 6 months old.
Oh,
I mean, I have a big dog. He's 10, he's almost 11. So trying to balance between keeping him still happy, because he hides in the tub. I had to literally put a bedspread in my garden tub, because when she barks too much or is too yappy, he parks it in the tub. That's his safe place. So keeping him happy, keeping the puppy happy. I think just being outdoors. I've hiked a lot more since quarantine. I spent time outdoors. I don't even really desire to be out like we used to be. I mean, if it comes up one day when everything's safe, fine. But I don't, people are like, oh yeah, I'll be in Vegas this weekend. Okay. Congratulations. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Want to go for a hike? It's a definitely different piece, but I think sports definitely help. I think those few months when we had no sports, that was one of the toughest for me. I think was just, and then like you said, I'm tired of watching TV. I don't know if I've gone through everything on Netflix. Of course,
you
not.
probably have.
Everything that I want to watch, it's done. I mean, I've gotten so good at binging shows that, anything anyone recommends, I'm done in 2 days. So now, I could be working and having Netflix playing at one time. I can be, driving and it's on the thing and it's playing through the speakers. I mean, it's just, as long as they're good. But and then family. I mean, I talk to my mom every day. Talk to my family. And you talk to friends. There's some friends like Mo, Natalie, those girls that I can text when I'm irritated with games, or can you believe this happened? But then you got their friends that you talk with about other stuff, because those aren't the sports people in your circle. But just having a balance, I think, is great. So and doing stuff like this. We get a Wednesday, kind of run off with me and Mo, so that's fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. A couple other things I want to touch on. I just was real quick, because I thought it was hilarious to read this. We've all gone to baseball games, and we all see like the amount of promotional materials they use. I mean, there's always like a bobblehead night, a poster night, a glove night, a jersey night. So there's about 4 million surplus bobbleheads from 2020 because they didn't have fans. But they have to pre-order these things way in advance to make.
Yeah, I think it's like 6 months minimum.
Yeah. So and then the other thing is, because there's been so many trades, half of these people that had bobblehead nights that were supposed to be in 2020 are no longer on that team. So I was totally into this article because I was like, what? This is crazy. And then they were like, well, if you're a fan of any team, to try and go to as many games in the beginning of a season if fans are allowed, because they'll be basically pushing all these promotional material on you. Right? Can you imagine like some of these organizations with like, 500,000 boxes of bobbleheads or something? Like I
still will take a Bauer bobblehead though, even though he's a Dodger now. I still will take that Trevor Bauer bobblehead.
Is that the one that had the space, the Star Wars or something? One of them there was a Star Wars one that I read in the article. I can't remember whose name it was though. Or who
I don't know which that one. I just know that we just got the previous Cy Young winner from last season to be one of our pitchers for the Dodgers. So we're going to be a world championship team again. So I just want his bobblehead because it's his former team. And it's like, yeah, that's crazy. But I'll put it in a little Dodger. Maybe I can make a little Dodger jersey or something and put it over it or something.
Get some Ken clothes from Barbie or something.
Mm-hmm. For sure. That'd
Dodger
be cool.
Dodger Ken. No, he's out there.
Yes. And then big shout out to our Vegas Gold Knights, because we are kicking it. So we were killing them this year. And yesterday they unveiled the retro red jerseys. I don't know if y'all caught it, but they're beautiful.
Reverse red.
I think those are like my new favorite jersey. Like I love that red. I think it's beautiful, and they're 1-0 in it. So, and Fleury is doing amazing this year. So I'm excited for Marc-Andre Fleury because I was a little worried last over the bubble because, it was kind of like he wasn't playing as much, but they're basically going between they're switching games between him and Leonard, our other goalies. So it's really nice for a hockey team to have two powerful goalies that continuously contribute to the team. So that was just my little VGK note. But I did want to say for a girl power, we do a girl power segment every week. And before I wanted everyone to kind of give us your favorite Super Bowl commercial before we leave for the show for today. But I just wanted to give a lot of props and prayers for Aaliyah Taylor, who was the victim of the DV assault from former Seahawks Chad Wheeler. She actually was on the CBS morning show this morning in an interview. And I just felt like, it's one thing to have to deal with those kind of situations, but it's another thing to then have to speak up on it and to follow through. And I think a lot of times we see that, money gets in the way or something happens where these people aren't filing. She came to court and explained how the reason why she came to court was to make sure she knew he didn't have that power over him. And I actually know a couple of people in Seattle that know her, and they've just been really boisterous on trying to get her story out there and making sure people know that, this isn't a good thing. So I wanted to just applaud her for staying true and keeping the fight up, and hopefully he gets locked away for a long time. Because he's facing up to 8 to 12 years in jail. Those are 2 felonies. One's a Class A, one's a Class C. So hopefully throughout this, I think their trial is like in April. So looking forward to him not having any time out.
Yeah.
Anyways, but into other news, Super Bowl commercials. Everybody saw Alexa too, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, but he's with Lori Harvey now.
I know.
The fantasy is commercial. Gone. And he's still flawless for The Wire.
Fantasy's gone.
Yeah, fantasy's gone. They're posting these lovey-dovey couples. I'm over. Yeah, he looked amazing in it, but he's with somebody. The fantasy's done. I mean, even though the woman in the commercial was
sub him with somebody else, sub him. But that whole commercial was phenomenal.
Yeah, we can't have the real deal. It was cool. I like the Shaggy one with Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis.
Oh, the Cheetos.
That was cute because he came out rapping. And I like the one with Jason Alexander. The one with Jason Alexander. If you didn't watch Seinfeld, no one would have understood the joke of that commercial. It kind of went over people's heads. Same with having a Beavis and Butthead probably in the commercials for young millennials.
Right.
Cardi B was hilarious too, and apparently they did an interview with Dana Carvey, and he was like, she was cracking us up. I enjoyed that commercial a lot. That was a good one.
Funny. Yeah, she's funny. I like the Cadillac one with Timothy Chalamet.
Scissorhands.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the original movie, so I was like, they should totally do a remake and have him be Edgar Scissorhands or something like that.
And I loved seeing Winona Ryder in it too. That was pretty cool.
I know, that was cool. But there was another. I like the David, the DoorDash one with him and Sesame Street Gang.
Oh, yeah, Big Bird. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna go get food with the homies, and I'm like, does DoorDash still exist? I guess. I mean, I don't.
I'm sure it's flourishing now.
Yeah, it is. It's doing really well.
I know it's helped my brother business up in Montana a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
The Eminem one, the Karen one was good.
Yeah, that was good. Cute. That was good. That was good. Did you guys like the halftime show?
Here's my thing. I know The Weeknd. I mean, I don't know him personally, but I've seen The Weeknd in a festival before, and I'm a huge Weeknd fan. Mm-hmm. And going to the show at the festival, I stayed for 2 songs and I walked away because his show, he's boring. That's just who he is. He's a one-man guy. He doesn't dance. He doesn't have this live band to get the excitement going. So I just walked away. So I kind of knew going ahead that it's probably not going to be as much. Prince still holds the best halftime show ever, in my opinion, because I'm a huge Prince fan. To sing Purple Rain and it starts raining, that's just incredible. So I still cherish that. I did like Bruno Mars' production. I love the production. I was all about everything. The black ensemble for the orchestra and the guys. I loved all of that. And it was part of, I guess, apparently his whole little kind of album and the whole track release and the videos that correlate to it each tells a story, and I guess this was the ending story to it or part of it, so you had to get it to understand it. But yeah, I walked away from that thing. I like The Weeknd, but you're not going to blow my buzz at a festival where I've been turning up all day listening to all kinds of music and be this buzzkill. I totally walked away. But yeah, I like Blinding Lights. I got up and literally danced to Blinding Lights. It makes me get up and do like the old 80s, when you're doing this and you're bopping, you know what I mean? And you're like, that's what I think of when I hear that song. So
I think I read a tweet that said a halftime show sponsored by Pepsi with songs all about Coke.
Wow, that's a good one. That's a great one.
Oh my god!
I posted one where where he's going through the tunnel with the lights. It's like when you're in Vegas and you try edibles for the first time. They had the memes went crazy. Bernie got a break this weekend. He totally got a break this weekend. The video memes of him were great. Yes.
Oh my god! I just couldn't believe that he spent like $7 million of his own money on top of whatever the budget was. And then I read that his jacket was basically made on top. I mean, I think it was like Gucci or some kind of jacket. But then he had a tailor's working for 250 hours putting rubies on the jacket.
Oh. I didn't know he was ruby jacket money.
I know,
right.
like
Right. It was all rubies. And so then I'm seeing videos of like the dancers or whatever the people that were in the I guess it was the dancers, the backup singers, whatever they were, in school buses being chartered to the Super Bowl. And I'm thinking like, so you got $7 million of your own money. You put a bunch of rubies on your jacket, but then your people that are working behind you get shuttled into like a school buses, like no charter. I mean, come on, just
like a Fire Fest halftime.
I mean, it wasn't. Some people loved it. I mean, I texted my mom. It was the most hilarious thing, and I was like, "Mom, this show." She's like, "It's fire! I love it!" And she had the fire emojis and everything. Wow. And I had to call her and ask her. I said, "Mom, what?" She's like, "You guys had told me about The Weeknd years ago when you had gone to that festival, and I tapped into him, and I like him, and I love the production, and I just thought it was really good. I'm not saying it was the best, but I thought it was good." So she was entertained. He reached all kinds of age gaps. So hey, success. Because Twitter was blowing up saying they loved it. They thought it was epic. But again, these are opinions and people that know the artist enough to know what to expect. Right. I just knew his show was boring at Life is Beautiful. I walked away personally. Highly disappointed I walked away, but I was looking at my phone like, who's the next act? Let me go to another stage. I'm out of here.
Well, it was just sad because the game had already been so boring. And then we got like a boring show on top of that. And it's like,
it's lackluster. Just the showmanship is just not there,
Yeah, it wasn't exciting.
Yeah, I kept saying
I like when they bring out like special guests. Like that's like the whole part. Like it's all surprising. Like, oh, who is it gonna be? And he didn't have anybody. And he had already said he wasn't gonna have anybody because of whatever reason. But like, so I knew it was coming. But still, you think you have a little hope. Like maybe he's just leading us on like down another path. And then,
well, he did. That's what I thought he was bringing the guest, and it wasn't a guest. It was him going in the light show.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought that too, Kendall. Though I thought that that he was going to bring on a guest because mostly like
everybody has one.
Yeah. I'm like, that was kind of a bummer. I mean, even bring Coldplay out. I mean, they could be in the background.
Something. I mean, he had no live.
Bring out the worst Super Bowls.
That was kind of funny. But then
bring out Maroon 5.
Right. And I think what made it worse too is the sound was off on him. So it looked as if he was lip sync. The sound was overpowering his voice. Yes. So they had a lot of technical issues going on with that. So he did the best he could. I'm gonna lay off. At first I was like, oh, this is so boring, but I should know.
I feel like he could have had a moment because he had that album come out, but I think the pandemic just didn't allow for him to like get the moment.
He couldn't do everything he wanted for the best with social. They said they had to be really he was very COVID conscious, and it was a social distancing thing. It was all of that. So
which is good. You want to hear that. You do want to hear that. But it's like, and it's also, I feel like most of the times when they have a halftime show performer, it's someone that we're know for a very long time.
Yeah.
Like we have a legacies with like U2, Madonna, Janet Jackson, even Lady Gaga was, she's part of the cultural lexicon already. And like, you're like, The Weeknd? Okay. Like I saw him on Uncut Gems, but I don't really know much about
Tell
him.
you that festival, I could not believe I had to walk away from this guy. I was like, I am really walking out of this crowd for The Weeknd. Like I can't do it.
And you know what?
Bummer.
I bet you Drake would have been a bop. I bet you even with Drake's emo.
Drake is an amazing performer.
he would
I
have
have
been
seen
great.
Drake in so many
he
concerts and shows, and he's
clubs,
incredible.
clubs too.
Well, I'm in the club too, but I mean, to see him on a big stage when he was at that T-Mobile concert, I never sat down. That's what I'm talking about. Like you're up the whole time, and that's just what you want. But I heard he had recently had surgery or something. I don't know if they ever proposed.
Well, he was in that commercial.
Yeah,
Drake
it wasn't
from
a
State
commercial.
Farm.
Yeah, the State Farm. But my thing is, okay, if Jay-Z is supposed to be this music guy, or he got on with the NFL to partner with the halftime, like what acts are we presenting? What were we supposed to be doing, Jay-Z?
He was going to change from the inside out.
Yeah. Well, we're in the underbelly right now with that Weeknd thing, I guess.
I'm so waiting for that one.
Because I'm wondering, I'm so confused because no one tweeted Jay-Z. I'm like, Jay-Z, I thought you were in charge of the music thing. I thought you were in charge of
your title. What's up with title?
Yeah, I thought you were supposed to be doing something with this halftime situation.
So ridiculous.
Yes.
So ridiculous. All right, ladies. Well, I know we've gone over our time, but the conversation flows so organically and well that we loved it. We appreciate you all for joining, but please, anyone, if you can give us like where people can find you on social media and what day and times and where to find your podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. This is usually my part at the end of our show. So I'll go ahead and do it. We want to thank everyone for listening. We are the Hoops Talk podcast. You can find us on Instagram at the Hoops Talking. You can find us on Twitter at the Hoops Talk Pod. We are also on YouTube at the Hoops Talk, but I haven't put up a lot yet lately because I haven't had internet until like last month. So the hotspot is not allowing me big downloads. So yeah, and you can we premiere our show on Wednesday nights at 6:30 on the Good News Radio podcast, and that's an app. So you download the app, it's free, and you can hear us on Wednesday nights. And we do replays on wherever else you like to listen to your podcast on the following day, so you can get that if the replays you didn't hear it live. So that's our show.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for joining, Mo, as always.
Thank you so much, ladies.
And everybody else, feel free to share, subscribe, tell a friend, and we will catch you next Wednesday. All right.
Thanks, ladies.
All right. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.